Dr. Phil used to be the most successful psychologist on TV, getting millions of views a year, but all that has changed, and now a judge has ordered him to liquidate his media company after Dr. Phil was caught by the judge trying to scam investors out of millions they were owed in bankruptcy court.
Is that right?
It really is quite a story to see such a one-time media star fall so far. The bankruptcy case involving Dr. Phil was filed earlier this year, but it only recently ended with the judge forcing Dr. Phil to liquidate his entire company after the scam was exposed. However, Dr. Phil denies the claim he was trying to scam anyone. This lawsuit all stems from his Dr. Phil show, which was on TV for over 20 years but ended in 2023. Dr. Phil and CBS Media decided to part ways, but Dr. Phil wanted to keep the show running, so in early 2024, he created a new cable network and streaming service known as Merit TV. Why Dr. Phil thought a new cable channel would work in 2024 when cable has been dying for decades and everyone watches streaming or YouTube, I'm not really sure.
Right.
But
So he just started that in 2024.
the channel did have a decent lineup of content when it first launched. Dr. Phil would continue his famous show, now rebranded as Dr. Phil Prime Time. Steve Harvey became an equity holder in the company as well, and all of his episodes of Steve Harvey, as well as the later show Steve, would be aired on the new channel as well. Eventually, Nancy Grace...
Bro, y'all still watching this shit in 2025? Y'all niggas tuned in to Dr. Phil? New episodes? That shit, like, it's so, like, the music on Dr. Phil, like, it's entertaining, yeah, but it's like boring at the same time. Y'all know what I'm talking about, like that shit boring, bro.
Steve would be aired on the new channel as well. Eventually, Nancy Grace joined the channel with a new true crime program, and even the Bachelor host Chris Harrison joined the network to start a new reality dating show. Dr. Phil even bought the rights from CBS to the entire catalog of the 21 seasons of the Dr. Phil show, and finally, the network was able to get exclusive rights to all events hosted by the Professional Bull Riders Company. So initially, it looked like the new Merit TV had a pretty stacked
Yeah,
lineup.
it looked like they doing
all those
good.
stars and buying the rights to his former show was incredibly
2025
costly,
though.
though. So Dr. Phil had to give majority ownership of Merit TV to another company, the Trinity Broadcasting Network. This meant Dr. Phil was a minority holder of the Merit brand, with his production company known as Patesky Productions. The channel launched in April of 2024, and almost immediately the company started to fail. In August 2024, Merit TV laid off around 40 employees, which was about 30% of its workforce at the time. The network, only being a few months old, was only averaging about 27,000 primetime viewers, and by early 2025, they had dipped to only 17,000 primetime viewers on average. To put that into perspective, I'm a very mid-sized YouTuber, and every video I put out on this channel has gotten more views than that, dating all the way back to late 2022. With a production budget infinitely higher than mine, this channel was bleeding cash
So that's per episode.
with how little viewership they were averaging on a daily
TV.
basis. With Trinity Broadcasting Network investing over $100 million into the company and seeing almost no return on their money, this event
Or that's 17,000 viewers a day. That's way different than 17,000 views a video, an episode, you know.
eventually led to Merit TV declaring bankruptcy in July of 2025
Damn.
to try and restructure. Once things went into bankruptcy court, though, the judge uncovered some very sketchy practices
Is that
from
right?
Dr. Phil and his partners. We'll talk more about that after a word from today's sponsor. Either
Oh,
someone
brother.
like best before Monarch, but now Monarch makes it a breeze that with bank level control to get out of it. As I said before, Merit TV declared bankruptcy in July 2025, but it's important to note that initially it was a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is known as restructuring bankruptcy. This is used by businesses to stay in operation while structuring its debts and financial affairs under court supervision. This provides a timeout, basically, from creditor actions such as collection attempts and foreclosures, while a repayment plan is developed with the help of a judge. At the same time,
Basically, consolidation.
Merit declared bankruptcy, it also filed a lawsuit against Trinity Broadcasting Network for breach of contract, claiming the broadcaster failed to provide clearly agreed upon national distribution and other significant foundational commitments, and abusing its power as a controlling shareholder to advance its own interests and those of its CEO Matthew Crouch, while causing Merit TV to assume responsibility of TBN's obligations under the joint venture agreement and to otherwise enrich itself at Merit TV's expense. Trinity Broadcasting Network countersued Merit, claiming that McGraw promised 160 new 90-minute Dr. Phil primetime episodes, but by June 2025, not a single one had aired. Despite a $68 million annual
160, bro. You know the budget behind that to get 17,000 views in return. This is the math don't math, if you ask me.
production budget and a plan to slash costs by 40% through Texas relocation, nothing materialized. Eventually,
$68 million annual production budget, and they plan to slash costs by 40% through Texas relocation. They're spending $68 million a year. That $68 million, I believe, covered the 160 90-minute episodes. Bro, you're not making that back with 17,000 views, nigga. Do the math on that. Is that even 2 million views? 3 million? Somebody do the math. Like, you getting that on YouTube at a $4 RPM. I don't know what TV pays. I don't know how that works, but I'm sure it's probably more than YouTube, honestly. But you never know these days. YouTube, you only getting a couple bands off of, say, a Dr. Phil episode. He could probably get a high RPM. You know what I'm saying? He might make, at most, if he can get a $20 RPM, every 100,000 views or every 1 million views is going to be $20,000. There's no money. There's no money being made back. You know what I'm saying? It's just that 68 million, you're not making that back.
Despite a $68 million annual production budget and a plan to slash costs by 40% through Texas relocation, nothing materialized. Eventually, even the professional bull riders filed a claim against Merit TV for $181 million, claiming the company failed to pay right fees to show their events, which they had signed a 4-year deal to be exclusive with Merit TV. It's also important to note that with the company now in bankruptcy proceedings and in a lawsuit with their main financial backer, Trinity Broadcasting, they were not able to afford to continue their new programming, and all new productions were stopped. Since July, the channel began to run nothing but reruns of The Dr. Phil Show and The Steve Harvey Show. During the bankruptcy filings, it became even more clear just how much of a money hole Merit TV really was in, owing invoices to major cable networks for carrying their network. They owed DirecTV $1.7 million, Dish Network $900,000, Mountain Broadcasting $1.35 million, and Oli Media $1.29 million.
Companies that people are not using. Who the hell's using DirecTV and Dish Network these days, man? Yeah, that's a bad business move, man. You should have took it. You gotta come with a different strategy now. You gotta think, Dr. Phil bought the entire 21 season catalog, bro. That alone costed some money. It's just, I can see how this easily failed, bro. You spent $68 million in, what was that, a year or whatever, to create 160 episodes, bro. You're not making that money back in today's time, bro. That's a lot of fucking money, man, to produce them episodes, man. That people that you could produce the same episode. You know, it's not gonna be as high quality, but for a fraction of the cost, nigga. Hell, these streamers kicing that, nigga. YouTubers is doing this shit. Not with no $68 million budget. It's crazy.
Casting $1.35 million.
He over here using the same strategy, and you trying to start your own network. That's not gonna be easy. You know, it's not gonna be easy. You gotta figure out a new way to create. You know what I'm saying? Different type of content. You know, you don't want to just throw the whole show in the trash. He's at a point, it's like you don't want to throw the whole show in the trash and just do something completely different. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta at some point, at this point, you've got all this skin in the game. The game is completely different than it was back then, where the whole viewership was on TV. You know what I'm saying? You had no option but to watch what was on TV type shit. Now you got so much content that's at your disposal. You got to do something that's different. You got to adapt with the times, man. You know?
And Oli Media $1.29 million. Across all creditors, liabilities and assets range between $100 million to $500 million. More than 200 parties were seeking repayment from Merit TV in the filings. Now this is where the story takes a strange twist, with the judge accusing Dr. Phil of trying to scam creditors out of being repaid. Just 2 weeks after Merit TV filed for bankruptcy, Dr. Phil formed a new company known as Envoy Media. The press release for Envoy Media stated that they would host live, balanced news, original entertainment programming, and immersive viewer experiences, including library programming and original shows from McGraw and his friend and Merit Street collaborator, Steve Harvey. It doesn't really make any sense why Dr. Phil formed this new company, since all the rights to his shows were owned by Merit, which was in the process of going through reorganization.
Well, he trying to create something that's not tied to that. And yeah.
Bankruptcy. So he wouldn't actually be able to use any of that content in his new Envoy company. The judge in the bankruptcy
you just said it was going to be original
and said that I've never seen a case like that of Merit Street Media in which a bankrupt entity was controlled by a party, McGraw, that hired the former company's few remaining employees and launched a new firm, Envoy Media, that planned to acquire what was left of the debtor's assets. McGraw Patisky Productions was the proposed debtor in possession lender in the Merit Street bankruptcy filing.
Yeah, all they gonna do is transfer the assets that they do have left to the new company.
McGraw had been named as the sole director of Merit. Mr. McGraw believes he was calling shots, Judge Everett said. This Chapter 11 case is an anomaly and said that in his opinion, there never has been a pretense of a rehabilitation or a reorganization of Merit Street's business, which he said was dead as a doornail when it filed for bankruptcy. The judge eventually uncovered deleted text from Phil that stated he was trying to get rid of TBN, who at the time was the largest owner of Merit TV. He also apparently said he would execute a gangster move to make TBN a non-controlling shareholder in the company. Judge Everett went on to say that he found that McGraw had deleted an unflattering text message in which McGraw described his strategy to wipe out TBN and PBR's claims via the Merit Street bankruptcy. McGraw evidently did this to avoid having it produced in the court proceedings, Everett said, in violation of the judge's orders. Now, this bankruptcy case was just surrounding the assets involved with Merit TV, but I have to say, if the judge found out that Phil intentionally deleted text so that he wouldn't have to produce it in court, so that his case looks better, shouldn't there be some sort of criminal charges against Dr. Phil at this point? This seems like a horrible violation that was found by the judge that would put anyone in very serious legal hot water. After the judge uncovered Dr. Phil's gangster move, and it was clear Merit TV was a dead company that couldn't be reorganized, the judge converted the bankruptcy to a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, known as a liquidation bankruptcy. What this means is that the assets of the company will now be sold off piece by piece to try and recoup some amount of money for the investors who lost money on Merit TV. Dr. Phil is trying to prevent the liquidation from occurring with appeals, but after his attempt to try and scam investors with his gangster move, I don't think it's going to happen. Ultimately, all the assets of the company will be sold off, and who knows where the rights of the Dr. Phil show will end up.
That's crazy.
Let me know below what you think of this case. And
that nigga fumbled his own legacy, man. Damn. Nigga fumbled his own TV show, bro. You bought the show, merged it with a company. It sounded like things was going good, but you what happened was he got too much money invested in this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just You should have left it where it was at. You should have re-signed with CBS or whatever and let it be, man. I know you want ownership, but you got to really think about it. If you take ownership over over all your 21 episodes, right? You're in charge of posting them to the network or whatever and whatnot, bro. You now own it. So you have to create this whole new business, this whole new strategy, invest all this money. You know what I'm saying? When CBS already had the network, whatever. Y'all know what I'm saying though. Taking control over that and trying to start a whole new business with this old 20 years ago strategy is not gonna work today, man. So it's better left where it's kept or where it was. You know what I'm saying? Because trying to come with some new, you're trying to recycle the same thing in a sense, in a new era. Redo it, like republish it, or what's the word, bro? You're trying to bring it back to life in the current time in a new way with a new face type, but it's the same material. It's just gonna be hard, man. You know, I could see why it failed, man. You got too much money invested, $68 million to do 160 episodes of Dr. Phil. That show ain't that hard, man. That show ain't that hard to produce. But the problem is you got the real studio. You got the big time cameras. You got the big time producers and editors and camera people and behind the scenes people. And you don't need all them people, man. You got the editor. That's a big, you know. It's just too much that go into it, man. And this day and age, less gets you the biggest profits. If that makes sense. Like, you don't need that big of an investment, man. You know what I'm saying? And this is the streaming era. People are not buying physical copies, bro. So you can't put too much money into this. It's like making music. You can't put too much money into making music because the profit margins are slim to none. You know what I'm saying? So when you come in with a TV show, your profit margins are slim to none versus you was just doing this on YouTube and running the business that way. You know what I'm saying? You got an editor, you got a couple camera people, and it's you and the guest. And, you know, your expenses are way lower. Hopefully y'all can see what I'm saying, man. Hey, y'all let me know what y'all think. We on the road to 100K, okay? If you want to hit that like button, subscribe button, and turn on all notifications, slap the dog shit about yourself. Because that's the first thing you should have did when you clicked on this video. I'll get at y'all on the next one, and I'm gone. TYP the name.